Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, what's new in ProPresenter 7.17? Hi, and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I teach you all about ProPresenter. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. And before we get started, if you've been excited about new versions of ProPresenter, I got a doozy for you. So go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me which of these features you like best. So one thing that I love about ProPresenter since they released Pro7 in 2020, January of 2020, is just all the new features. And today is a big day. As I'm recording this, Renewed Vision has just announced ProPresenter. Well, actually, that's the first thing. So let me go ahead because I need to fix something, because the very first thing that they've changed is this. They've dropped the 7. So I've heard people say for years, oh, well, since ProPresenter 7 came out, oh, when are they going to do ProPresenter 8? When are they going to do ProPresenter 8? Well, they're not. So that's the very first thing, is they've just dropped the 7. The 7 was always branding. So 7.0, 7.1, the dot versions were actually major releases with new features. Now the second dot tended to be bug fixes. Occasionally they'd throw in a feature that wasn't ready when things were announced, but that's no longer the case. So now I can say, and I said this before, with some degree of certainty, that there will never be a ProPresenter 8. That's because right now we're on ProPresenter 17. Just for clarification, though, that does not mean 7.1 should be referred to as ProPresenter 1. There was a ProPresenter 1. In fact, here's how you need to refer to it. If you are on ProPresenter 7.16.3 or older, include the 7, just to make sure that there's no confusion. If you're on, because there was a ProPresenter 7.6, a ProPresenter 7.5, 7.4, 7.3, 7.2, and 7.1. So just for clarification, just keep the 7 in if it's before this particular version. So that's one important thing to remember. But that's not all that they've done. They've done so much. One thing, other people aren't going to view it this way necessarily, but I think that it's a game changer when it comes to ProPresenter 7, so stick around. We'll talk about that. So let's head over to my computer and we'll look at ProPresenter see? Almost did it. ProPresenter 17. So here we are in ProPresenter 17. This is the beta. This is the third version of the beta that I've been playing around with it for a while. So when you first start it up, you'll notice that you have this. This is a new version of the things that you have. So that's one minor thing, but still it's the what's new in ProPresenter, and you can go to the full release notes just by clicking here, and that will give you not only the major features but the bugs that they fixed, because every release of ProPresenter also includes bug fixes. So I don't want to hear, oh, ProPresenter, there's no bug. No, there is. Every time they release bug fixes, they're always squashing bugs, some that you've never had, because the vast majority of people don't have bugs with ProPresenter that are really big deals. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, as I said, they're dropping the 7, which was branding. So now if you're saying, hey, I've got ProPresenter, just include the version number, 17 in this case, with any questions that you have. So the next thing you'll notice, there's a new logo right there. You can see it. So that's something cool. You can also see it here in the libraries, a new version of the logo. The previous version basically had two screens, kind of cattywampus like that, so that you could see them. That's because the innovation with the original version of ProPresenter was a control screen and an audience screen. Then later on they added a stage screen, and they didn't really update the logo. You know, they made it more flat, more rounded, depending on the version, what have you. But now you can actually see the three types of screens that are in there in the logo. So that's something else that's different. If we go to ProPresenter and settings or preferences, depending on your operating system, let me just click on this, because you'll immediately notice that this is a new layout. So it used to be that the things that are over here were along the top, and they've reorganized some of these. So you'll notice that the very first one is a licensing thing, and you can see my my account here and how I have two seats, one of which is in use. That's the one you're looking at, and another one. So I can change that to active or inactive right here. No big deal. It also tells me about my Pro Content subscription. Notice I'm just on the free version, so I'll be able to get the stuff that's listed down here under free. So that's good as well. I can manage account right here. So let me fire that up here real quick. Slide over here to get that. Do you like these videos, but you'd really like to learn from me in person? Well, I've got some great news for you. I am traveling around the country and maybe even around the world training churches on how to use ProPresenter. So I've got a either a 1 or a 1.5 day class that you can attend. For more details, head on over to TDM.fyi/events24, the top one right here, and register for the event nearest you. If there is no event that's near you, no problem. You can request one. So head on over to TDM.fyi/class request. That's this one down here, and you can say, hey, I'm interested in attending a class, or even I'm interested in hosting a class. Up to you which you prefer. In the last one, that is just information. It's not obligation, so don't hesitate to put your information in there, and I'll let you know when there's a class in your area, or we'll talk about what it takes to host a class. It's probably a lot less than you imagine that it is. So head over there, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Okay, there it is. So this is actually the dashboard that you see online. Notice that I can upgrade to Pro Content if I want to. It has my visa here. This is something else that's worth mentioning, and that is that I'm doing the yearly version. Now you'll see $378. That's actually 2 times what the ProPresenter Plus subscription is about, and that's important for you to know, because if you have a current ProPresenter Plus subscription, the price does not change. So that's an important thing to know. I've got 2 licenses, so this is equivalent to 2 seats at the original or the previous ProPresenter Plus version. I can manage my Bibles here. I can, if I go here, I can see what computers have what versions on them. When I initially signed up to this, I found that someone had hacked my ProPresenter, and so they were using my code with an iMac, and I've never owned an iMac. So something had gone wrong, and I was able to fix it myself without reaching out to support. So that's good. Notice I can go into Bibles here, and I've got the New Living Translation that I bought because that's what my church was using at the time. Please don't read anything theological one way or the other into that. So I can get more Bibles, and I can, if I wanted to, I could deactivate the Bible here. This is on the web, so if I leave it at home, then I can deactivate it remotely, which is very cool as well. So that's something that's really great. Another thing that's really great is if you have let your ProPresenter Plus subscription lapse and you're beyond the grace period, or if you have ProPresenter 6 and older and you've just been putting off going to Pro 7 and you just had a computer die, or you know it's on its last leg, so you're thinking, okay, now's the time, but I got to save up a bunch of money. Good news for you, you don't have to save up that money. In fact, you can use ProPresenter as if it's a subscription. So think of it this way. Instead of saving up all the money for the initial cost, it's $29 a month for a single seat of ProPresenter, and then there is the campus license as well. I just don't remember how much it is off the top of my head, but you can do that. And what if you have a situation where, oh, we've got this event that we're going to have 10 seats of ProPresenter, and we normally only use one. What do? Well, you can temporarily have ProPresenter. So just have a month's worth of ProPresenter for those additional seats. So that's something else that's kind of cool to be able to do. Something that when I do my trainings, I'm thinking over possibilities with that as well. So something else for you to keep in mind. By the way, with the subscription, that does mean once you quit paying, your ProPresenter will quit working. You can still download the free version and use that with the watermark, but do keep that piece of the puzzle in mind. But if you have ProPresenter Plus that is current, while your ProPresenter Plus is active, then you'll still have a perpetual license. So there is some kind of leeway if you're in that situation. So keep that in mind as well. Now let's go back to regular features here. So I showed you the new kind of settings page. That looks very similar to how it does on Mac OS, so that's kind of where they got the idea from, I suspect. I don't know anything absolutely. I wasn't there with the programmers. Remember, I don't work for Renewed Vision, so there's that. Let's talk about some of the additional features. Let's see here. So additional features, I'll need to hide myself for this. If we go into props here, we've got a couple of things. First off, I've got prop collections. So I've already played with this, and like I could have different collections for example, a game. So right now I just have like my regular stuff, but I made one for Jeopardy, Double Jeopardy, and Final Jeopardy, because notice that I have this arranged. If you go down here to the lower right-hand corner, this is the way props used to look, and you can still do that. But if you prefer to have them arranged like this, I could basically make a grid like it is on Jeopardy, and then when someone says, hey, yeah, this for 200, I could click on the 200 box. So, and then have that prop pop up. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that I can do is I can click on this, and this basically, this is called single prop mode. And what single prop mode is, well, let me show you what props used to do. It used to be the case that you would put up a prop. Here, let's see here. Okay, so put up a prop, and then when you added in a new prop, it would come in like this without removing the old prop. So what I can do here, let me click pause there, because that also shows you another thing, is let me clear all the props. And now if I click on this for single prop mode, then it acts just like the slides mode does. So when I click on this other one, it causes the first one to go away. And I can change that anytime I want to. So that's a cool little feature there. Now, with this one, I have added in an auto clear timer. Right now I have it set to 60 seconds. Let's change that to 5 seconds just to make that a little easier. So let's say that I wanted, this is an example of what I do in my live classes, is I tell people maybe you want the church logo up the entire time. You would make sure single prop mode is off. But from time to time you want to click on, hey, for prayer, email prayer@firstchurchhackensack.com or whatever. Then after a few seconds, it will auto clear without affecting this whatsoever. So that's a cool little feature as well. So we have collections, we've got this new look, we've got auto clearing the prop, and if I take this away, notice that the prop actually is cleared. So I'm going to put this up for another 5 seconds, and then we'll watch this, and I suspect that, yep, it went away. I did not click on it. So that's another cool thing. A lot of new love given to props. So that's something that people like to see. This is, of course, where you can change the transition on your props to whatever you want it to be. Right now it's on dissolve. I could change it to a cut if I wanted to, what have you. So that's a cool little feature as well that they've added to props. And in the future, what I'm planning on doing is maybe diving more into each one of these individual features, but that is something else that's coming sometime in the future. Also, if we go up here to settings, and if I go to network, in network, I now have TCPIP control. So what good is that? Well, so in the past, basically, to send an API command, you had something that looked just like a web address. So HTTP, etc., right? So once you figure that out, pretty straightforward. But not all software that can do control can do that. So they have a new control protocol that is TCPIP. And I'm going to dive into that in a subsequent tutorial and show you a little bit more about that. That's something I haven't had as much time to play with. So that's something else. So a lot of great things happening. I think personally, if I had to rank them, I think the lower barrier of entry for people that don't currently have ProPresenter is really cool. I think that having, oh, by the way, they changed the name from services to integrations, which I think is a good choice here because that includes Planning Center, Multitracks, Song Select, and Resi. And integrations is a better name than services because people think worship services, I think. So I think that that's a good thing. So we've got all of those different things to consider, some reorganization that maybe I'll dive into later, but that's also some cool things, I think, than the way that it was as well. And so that's all the cool new stuff that they've added in ProPresenter 17. If you like this content, you'd probably like my quick start course. So head on over to TDM.fyi/pro7 and quick. Give me your name and email address, and I'll make a login for you for free. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.